Welcome to What, Why, God, where we answer your questions about God, the Bible, truth, Christians, and how can we possibly believe what we believe. And today I have with me Kimmett Brigham. He's one of our elders here, has been here for some time. He had an episode last season in season 1, and it was fantastic. And I will put that link in the description below. So if you want to listen to his first conversation with me, that would be very good for you, I promise. But today he has decided that he's going to answer the question, why doesn't God make himself known to me now? And it's a question that's been asked for a long time because people they want either a physical representation or it's just a question that comes up often. And so there's so many multifaceted ways that we can answer this. But I'm going to go to Kimmett first and just ask him, so why that question? And when you saw it, what was your initial response to that question?
When I first saw the question, I thought, as a Christian, we see God in everything. We see him in the wind. We see him in the miracle of a birth of a baby. We see him in someone who is sick and about to die and they make a full recovery. We see him in someone who puts him on in baptism. So we see God in various ways. And then I thought, yeah, but that's his power.
His power in us.
Yes, in us. And I said, but when you see his power, you see him. Mm. So and so my question to myself was, okay, why does he have to appear to you for you to believe? Mm-hmm. And
so I remember you quoted Thomas.
Yes. I went back and looked at the scriptures, and in John 20:19, when Jesus was resurrected, he went to his disciples. Now, he went into this room, and they did not know that he came into the room because he didn't open the door, which would have freaked me out. But
and it's almost like, don't believe your lying eyes.
Yes,
right?
Absolutely. But they immediately recognized him, and they talked to him. They saw the nails prints. They saw everything. And then Thomas comes later, and he said he wasn't going to believe until he saw it. And so my initial thought at that point was, there's always going to be someone who won't believe even if they see it. Mm. So then I went back to the scriptures, and I saw where in Matthew, where Jesus was saying to the Pharisees and the teachers of the law, they said, hey, show us a miracle, show us something. And I'm thinking, he's there. He's there. He was the miracle.
Yeah.
But he's right there. And they didn't believe who he was.
Well, and he'd already shown plenty.
He had showed plenty of miracles. Yeah. And so he said, well, you're asking for a miracle, but none is going to be given. Mm. So, whoever asks that kind of question, I wonder what their heart is telling them. And because if you're asking that question because you want to know, you really want to know, I think you can find a Christian or someone who believes in God to help you find that answer.
Yeah. And I would say even for Christians, we mentioned Romans 1:18 when we were prepping for this.
Yes, we did.
And what does that say, and how does that answer this question? Because as we're going into this whole, the truth to the answer of this question sometimes comes out of our own sinfulness, desire to suppress the truth of God.
Well, Romans 1:18 says, I'll just read a little bit of it. It says, for the wrath of God is revealed from heaven against all ungodliness and unrighteousness of men, who by their unrighteousness suppress the truth. It also goes on to say that God's invisible qualities have been known, so man is without excuse. And it's been known like this from the beginning. Mm-hmm. And so man is without excuse. So putting all that together, you say, why doesn't he reveal himself? Well, he does. And he has in many various ways. I went to another scripture, and it's in Hebrews, and it says, in the past, God spoke to our forefathers through the prophets at many times and in various ways. But in these last days, he's spoken to us by his Son, whom he appointed heir of all things. The Son is the radiance of God's glory and the exact representation of his being, sustaining all things. So he's not going to show himself to us because he's given all that to Jesus. And Jesus has already done that.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's shown us. And he constantly shows us who he is and what he can do. But if you're not a believer, it's hard to understand because we come to God in faith.
Well, and even in the Old Testament, it's really clear if you read through the Old Testament, because they say, well, he's a God of wrath. But what they don't see is the amount of times he gave grace, and he kept
Yes.
sending prophets saying, if you don't stop your evil and
Yes.
wicked ways, this is going to happen. And he gave them, I think I was reading today, and it's basically God saying, you have a saying that says, these things keep getting talked about, but they'll never happen,
Right.
amongst the old Jewish people.
Yes.
And at the very end, I think it's in Ezekiel, Ezekiel basically in his prophecy says, well, that day's come.
That day
And
is
so, it's like, it's, you can have people coming and telling you the truth, but our own sinfulness wants to hold on to our own sinfulness. And
Absolutely.
And not listen to all the signs and wonders and things of God.
You can't say, how come he doesn't show himself, and then want to do whatever it is you want to do.
Exactly.
I think I mentioned to you that I don't see God as an elected official. We don't get to tell him what we want him to do so that we will believe. It doesn't work like that.
That's excellent. Yeah.
He's our creator.
Yeah.
He is our benefactor. He is our creator. He gives us life. He is the reason why you can do whatever you want to do. If people say, well, how do you know he exists? And my answer is, did you get up?
Yeah.
If you got up this morning, there's one answer right there.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and we're all so differently made. There's so much. We talk about this in so many different episodes, and so it's just got so much to it. So the truth is, we make these choices.
We do.
As we just talked about, and those certain paths can turn us from God or to God. And
Yes.
so, why do you think he doesn't make himself known? Because people may not want to know. If the question is asked because someone really wants to know God, what would you tell them? Because we've talked about rich man, poor man, right? The parable from Luke 16, which talks about, that. So, but if somebody really wants to know, what would you?
If a person really, really wants to know, really wants to seek God, he has to come with a willing heart, and he has to come with an open heart. And so if you have that, then I would say you need to start with someone who you trust, someone who truly believes, and they will take you to that book, to the Bible. That is our roadmap right there. And that Bible will teach you along with that person, they will teach you the things that you need to know to strengthen the faith that you want to have in him. The truth is that even as a Christian, there are times when we see things that happen and things that happen to us, and we have questions.
And doubts.
Yeah, but that does not deter our ultimate faith that he will do what he says he's going to do.
Yeah, it's the Matthew 7, 7 and 8, which is ask and it'll be given to you.
Yes.
Seek and you will find. Knock and the door will be open. For everyone who asks, receives, and it just goes on for that. And it's just, I do think that when you're open to that, like you said,
Yes.
You also have to be open to the various ways that God may answer it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We don't know why he does some of the things that he does. We don't. We have clues in the Bible that tells us about some of the things that he does. But we don't know everything, which is good,
Oh, yeah.
which is really good, because we don't need to know everything. Not right
Well, it
now.
takes a burden off, though,
Yes,
too,
it
right?
does.
Because
Yes, it
otherwise
does.
the weight of the world is on your shoulders.
Absolutely.
If you think you know everything.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this has been a great conversation, Kimmett. I totally appreciate. He always has such great wisdom and some good things, and we always have some great conversations. And so I enjoy your easy way of talking about his life and being a Christian, and how you have, through the years as an elder, been able to minister out of the people in this same way.
Yeah, and you know, I would tell those who are listening that even when you get to this point, you still have questions.
Yes.
So don't think that you're going to know everything if you come to God, because you're not. But you will receive that gift of the Holy Spirit, and that will help teach you. And so the questions that you have, you know you're going to get an answer to them eventually. They're going to come. That answer is coming.
And you're just going to continue to grow.
Yes,
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Kimmett. Appreciate that.
not a problem.
Thank you so much for joining us on this. And just like he said, if you have questions, keep asking. Find someone who can minister to you and with you, and read that Bible. Get into a really good Bible study. That would really help you in your journey as you ask these questions. So don't forget to like and subscribe, and certainly make a comment in the below if you have any questions or comments that you have. But we're so thankful that you are with us, and we will see you next time.